The last time we spoke about Cyberpunk 2077 was when it was revealed to be still far away from release, with the game still in a pre-alpha state. Right now it's expected to release this console generation, although this being a cross-generation title like Rockstar's Grand Theft Auto 5 was, is something I personally fully expect. Anyway, at E3 2018 we finally got our long-rumored reveal of Cyberpunk 2077, which included our first official look at the game and tons of details on the world, story, characters, gameplay, and more. Some journalists and people who attended E3 were even lucky enough to see the game in action. Overall, the first impressions have been extremely positive, and while most of the conversation around the game has been positive, there has been some negativity. The biggest criticism was the reveal that the game would be played from the first-person perspective primarily, which we actually discussed in a previous video. Mike Pondsmith, the Cyberpunk game creator, defending that decision by saying in an interview with GameSpot, "My belief is that third person has a lot of good places. In this particular case, I think first person was best because it could provide more than just the immersion, it could provide the tools for you to perceive the world and make decisions that were proper within that world." Essentially, Projekt Red feels the first person point of view makes this experience more personal and allows the player to fully understand and feel the state of your character. So far, it seems most are understanding of this decision, but many would have preferred there to be, at the very least, an option. Now, recently, something else Mike Pondsmith has said has also received quite a bit of attention, with many people feeling concerned. That being, Cyberpunk 2077 will be political, which I'm not really sure why that's a surprise. Anyway, before we get to that, let's actually go over what was said. It begins with Projekt Red Quest designer Patrick Mills speaking to the official Xbox magazine, in which he was asked if the game would feature political themes or social commentary, and his answer would be Cyberpunk 2077 is a game about people with power at the top and people at the bottom with none. That power can come from money, hierarchies, technology, and violence. The original Cyberpunk 2020 setting, like the setting of The Witcher stories, was a complex critique of the author's world, and we don't shy away from that in our games. On the contrary, I think it's one of the things that sets us apart. Cyberpunk is an inherently political genre, and it's an inherently political franchise. This response would then make its way to Reddit, in which, well, things pretty much would go as you expected, with many people not liking the idea of more politics being in a game. Eventually, things would get a little too uncivil and the mods would be forced to lock the thread, but before that, Mike Pondsmith actually responded to this Reddit post in which he would state the following: "No, it's political. Cyberpunk has always been political. That's where the punk part comes in, chumba." He would then link the Wikipedia definition, which states punk subculture includes a diverse array of ideologies, fashion, and other forms of expression, visual art, dance, literature, and film. It is largely characterized by anti-establishment views and the promotion of individual freedom, and is centered on a loud, aggressive genre of rock music called punk rock. Its adherents are referred to as punks, also spelled punks in the modern day. Punk politics cover the entire political spectrum. Common punk ethos include anti-authoritarianism, a do-it-yourself ethic, non-conformity, direct action, and not selling out. Mike would then finish his thoughts on the matter by saying it doesn't have to be heavy-handed preaching, but if you're out in the street fighting for your space, you're being political, whether you want to call it that or not. So I don't really understand why everyone is so surprised. I think one Reddit comment from user Koku kinda says it perfectly. Cyberpunk is inherently political. It argues that capitalism will evolve into corporations running amok, causing an anarcho-capitalistic dystopia, and therefore a new, different system is needed. Like, this shouldn't be a surprise to people. I mean, many people just don't understand the background of this franchise, and the fact that this is a future that corporations rule everything. Hell, even the Witcher franchise was extremely political, taking on numerous complex issues. Although Projekt Red did receive criticism for The Witcher 3 being quote-unquote too white, as noted by a Polygon article, which eventually led to a Projekt Red writer explaining that Poland, where the studio is located, is mainly made up of the same people. It's not racially diverse. And the game was drawing inspiration from the tensions that existed between the various cultures coexisting in the country. Someone else who helped work on The Witcher 3 E3 would also say we'd become so absorbed with hitting these issues that are absolutely at the forefront of Polish consciousness that we didn't have time to address the issues that are bigger in other countries. And the CD Projekt Red writer would further add, that's the issue of making a game that releases to so many peoples and cultures. Pretty much point is, there are other cultures that have different political issues, not everything is about the United States of America. I certainly expect CD Projekt Red to take on current issues like a commentary on capitalism, and probably other issues like race and sex, but I at least think it'll be handled much like the Witcher games. I do find it interesting some games media really are pushing at some things, like Vice Waypoint published an article about gender fluidity, and how when they saw the gameplay demo at E3, one of their problems was that the gender options were limited to men and women, and I automatically knew this would trigger people, and it certainly did. But this article finished by using a downvoted Reddit post which stated, personally as a gender fluid pansexual, this is a hugely important topic and selling point for me. I do hope they think about incorporating this into the game, not just for realism, but in order to prove they are a truly progressive company who wants to move with the times. Although many Redditors would respond to this post saying you could easily just roleplay the game that way. Now, I will add, this article seems like it comes off as sending a threat and trying to push for something, which seems to be a problem many have with games media these days. Overall, I fully expect Cyberpunk 2077 to be a diverse experience, especially because of where it is located, and it will be certainly taking on a number of issues that many other games and movies within this genre have touched on before, and I don't really have a problem with that. Anyway, maybe you have a different opinion on this. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below, but thank you for watching. Make sure to leave a like if you did enjoy this video or found any informative value, and consider subscribing for much more Cyberpunk 2077 content to come, and I'll see you later.